Good evening, everyone. Oh, thank you. I could not be more elated and nervous to be doing this incredible recognition of the Roxie Theater in front of so many, like the wealth of film community in the Bay Area that is in the house tonight is truly overwhelming, impressive, and humbling. So thank you all for coming out. Quick shout out, if you don't have a good seat, there's a lot of blue seats in the front, come on down. So for many of you who know, because we have former and current Novikoff committee members in the room, the SFFILM Novikoff Award has been handed out for over 37 years now, and we are so excited to celebrate one of our own, an organization who works tirelessly to enhance, encourage, and cultivate the public appreciation of cinema. No one does it better than the Roxie Theater. For those of you who are not, that was very loud. For those of you who are not familiar, this is an award that is named on behalf of Mel Novikoff, and it has been handed out by SFFILM committee that has taken various iterations over the years to celebrate an institution or an individual who works to ensure that we are connecting with international and independent film. Before I start talking about all the reasons that we're here today, I just want to take a brief moment to thank Stephen Cohen, who is Mel Novikoff's nephew and one of the largest supporters of the Mel Novikoff Award. I don't know if Stephen, if you're in the house, but if you are, thank you so much for your unending generosity and belief in this award. Also, you were supposed to be in the hands of somebody else tonight. You're stuck with me. You'll figure it out as we go along. They're busy in the hospital. Rodrigo Reyes, who is one of our members of the Novikoff Committee, a filmmaker and a member of the Roxie Board, is in the hospital with his wife having a baby. So he has a very good excuse. Yes. I also just want to take a moment to thank the current Mel Novikoff committee members, which include John Cooper, Elon Holt, Kate Mackay, who's actually in the room. Bravo, Kate, for showing up. Where are you? Janice Plotkin, who is unfortunately sick. Rodrigo Reyes, who I've already mentioned, is engaged elsewhere. Jonas Riviera, who is in the house tonight. Marcus Hugh, who is out of the country, and Pete Nix, who is also out of the country. We need to work on our scheduling. We'll get to that. The Novikoff Award has been handed out in recognition of Mel Novikoff's spirit of trying to ensure that art house films are showing unique, exciting, challenging, unheard of programming that will put you on your toes. Previous recipients include Gary Meyer, who is in the house tonight. Firelight Media, BBC, Janus Films and Criteria Collection, Roger Ebert. It's happening already. Roger Ebert, Anita Manga, who's also in the house tonight. The Institut Lumiere, and so many others that I can't list. All of this to say the Roxie Theater is in very good company. Every year when we sit around with the committee, and I say this like I've been doing it for a long time, I haven't. There's a lot of people here who have been doing it for far longer than I have. But when we do sit around with the committee, and when we try to think of who we're gonna honor, the Roxie Theater has been on our list for a very, very long time. And for a variety of reasons, it just came together that 2025 was the year that we decided to give them the Mel Novikoff Award. We did not know when we were doing this decision-making in August of this year that this would also be the year that Lex and her team would launch Forever Roxie and their capital campaign. So it is just incredible. Yes. It is so incredible to be here to honor an organization that has gone through so many iterations and so fully embodies the spirit of what the Novikoff Award is supposed to be. I've never had so many notes in my life. So for those of you who don't know, we're gonna do a little history lesson. This started off when Philip H. Dahl decided to take his profits from jewelry and business and put them into motion picture, and we got the Poppy Theater. It went through a lot of iterations, and then it became the Roxie Theater in 1934. And then, in the ensuing decades, it really became a place that it has continued to be known as now, which is a space for neighborhoods to gather, for community to drop by, and for individuals to discover new artists. In March of 1976, several community leaders, including Robert Christopher, Robert Christopher Evans, Dick Gielkowski, and Peter Moore, who is in the house tonight. Peter. And Tom Mayer got together, took over operations, remodeled, and transitioned this space into where we are now. Bill Banning, who is also in the house tonight, joined the Roxie in 1984 and would go on to serve as the owner and director of programming for 25 years, fully cementing this as one of the most respected independent cinema houses in the country. The arrival of Isabel Fondevila, who is going to be speaking with me tonight, who is currently the director of programming, and the executive director, Lex Sloan, who we all love, in 2015 started a new chapter of the Roxie, which we're going to dig into when we have our conversation. I have talked a lot already. All of this to say, I think you all know more than I probably do about how important the Roxie is to our community. We had a lovely reception beforehand, and I walked around and I asked people what their favorite Roxie memories were. There are far too many for me to remember, but Kate Mackay, one of our Novikoff committee members, has a memory as recent as Monday when she was able to come here and do a conversation with David Cronenberg for the Shrouds. One of my fellow colleagues has a very fond memory of coming here for a costume dress-up screening of Breaking Dawn of the Twilight series and loved that so much, and it is something that they hold dear to their heart. Another colleague of mine loved coming here for a sing-along of Yacht Rock, which is a documentary that if you haven't seen, I'm going to plug HBO, go watch it. It's great. One of the first things that I programmed here was Point Break for our colleagues. I didn't even live in San Francisco. I wasn't able to be here, but everybody gathered, and it was one of the first times our staff had gotten together since the pandemic happened. I am now forgetting who shared this with me, but somebody saw Sid and Nancy here. Somebody mentioned, Paula, I think you mentioned how much you love Roxie for Everyone when you can stand in line and mention that you need a little bit of a discount, and this theater will take care of you. There are so many more prestigious memories that were shared with me. But what I really love about this is like my favorite memory of the Roxie is that I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once here in the Little Roxie. This was before anybody knew what this film was going to become. We had just done an award for Michelle Yeoh, and it was in the Little Roxie. So that tells you like where it was in its lifespan yet. And I was in a theater packed with 30 of us, and we were so excited, and we were shouting at the screen, and we were watching Rocks in silence. And it was just a moment of like, oh, I found my church, I found my home. And I had many people tell me about the Roxie before I moved here. I know all of you have your own special memories about the Roxie, but we're all just so deeply grateful to Lex, to Isabel, to Rick, to Peter, to Bill, to so many people who I haven't mentioned who have fought the good, hard fight to keep an independent theater alive and well in San Francisco. We're going to talk about all of that and more. But for the moment, we're actually going to give an award, and I'll stop talking. We are so elated. And I'm going to unpack all the styrofoam in front of you very elegantly. Pamela, don't take a picture of this. Here to accept the award on behalf of the Roxie is two very, very special individuals, one of whom I have only just met tonight, but one of whom I've had the pleasure of working with for a few years. On behalf of the Novikoff Committee, SFFILM, I'm so excited and nervous to present the San Francisco International Film Festival Novikoff Award to the Roxie, and here to accept it is the Director of Publicity and a programmer, Rick Norris, who's been here since 1989. Come on up, Rick. And Diana Fuller, Emeritus Roxie Board Member. Please welcome Rick and Diana. Thank you so much for being here to accept this award.
Fantastic.
Don't use it. It's kind of dangerous. It's like a weapon.
It's frightening. Of course, all of the awards go to the programmers, which makes what goes to Roxie for worthwhile. Okay, here I am. I'm going to say it again. I'm Diana. Hi. I want to repeat what I said because it's, in fact, it is the truth that all the awards go to the management and programming of the theater since it became a nonprofit in 2000, well, I guess I could say 11 it starts. But it took off, I think that's right, but it kind of took off by 2013. And it really continued because of people that have been there, like your other guest of honor here, who has been here since the 80s. Pretty good, and sustained an understanding of the world out there in terms of the choice of films and the art part. And Isabel, who came with an enormously wonderful, fresh and unique sort of approach to their dual management and choices. And that's why we have more films than anybody else has for you to choose from, better films than anybody else has for you to choose from. And that's where all the credit goes, as you well know. So thank you for being here. I hope you're all members. That's good. I just saw a hand go up. I hope that means one of many.
Sign them up.
I'll sign them up. I signed up some this weekend, so that's cool. Okay. Thank you for being here. Please keep coming. Feed any suggestions you have for anything, and bless you all.
Thank you, SFFILM, and thanks to all you indispensable individuals who, through every fiber of your body and soul, into keeping these doors open for the past 50 years. This award is for you. It's for us. Congratulations. Yes.
It feels very authentic to the Roxy that I would be holding the microphone the entire time. Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you so much, Rick. We are now actually going to move into the second portion of this evening. There is so much history here, obviously, Roxy releasing, the founding of the cinema, all of the individuals in the room. But I'm really, really elated to be able to speak with Isabella and with Lex about where we are headed and where we are currently. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Executive Director Lex Sloan and Director of Programming Isabella Fondevila.
So formal, chairs on the stage. This is fancy.
I'm so excited for this. You two could not be less excited about this. I'm really elated. It's going to be wonderful. So thank you both for joining me. Thank you both for being here. Thank you for all the incredible work that you do. There's so much love in the room right now. To just kind of get us started, because I want to recognize, I know that I am very new to the Bay Area and probably not the person that should be up here honoring a 100-plus-year-old organization on behalf of a 68th-old organization. There are many individuals in the room that fought hard with blood, sweat, and tears to make sure that both SFFILM and the Roxy are still standing. So thank you for your grace while we do this. But if we could just kind of center ourselves, and I would love to hear, this is your idea, what your origin kind of Roxy story is.
What a great idea. Well, one of maybe the most meaningful memories I have before I started working here, then it's all a blur, is that it's when I was working as a volunteer for Artist Television Access, which is a nonprofit, all-volunteer run experimental film venue on Valencia Street. Yeah, I did a lot of things there, but one of the most fun things I did was run a small little experimental film festival. And after our 5th edition in 2010, we got a call from Mike Keegan, who was the head programmer at the time here, and saying, "Hey neighbors, do you want to come over and show something here at the Roxy?" And we're like, "What? The Roxy? They want us to show something." That was incredible. And we did end up showing best of the first 5 years of experimental film that we had shown in the festival. Imagine the thrill of all the filmmakers showing their little experimental films in this big screen, this big auditorium, great turnout, and feeling so welcome, genuinely welcome into the space. So I had a lot of respect for the Roxy before that, but that was like a magical experience. And it really, in retrospect, I'm thinking, wow, the fact that the Roxy was, inviting the little guys up the street, it does really show what makes the space very special and really open to uplift other people's voices. So that was really great.
Thank you, Isa. That was beautiful. Lex, how about you? What's your origin memory or story?
My Roxy origin story. That was beautiful, Isa. Well, I moved here from Arizona, packed up my car, didn't know anyone, and ended up PAing for free on a job on a film shoot I found on Craigslist. And that will date me. And that showed as part of Frameline Film Festival. And just speaking of the power to bring festivals together, there was a line down the block, and there was a rush line, and I didn't have a ticket because I was PA, so I was in the rush line. And I just looked up at the marquee, and I looked at all the people around me, and I was like, oh, this is where the queers and the punks and the people that aren't the people that I had seen and spent all this time with in Arizona. And I was like, these are my people. This is where it's at. Like, this is where under the marquee, I was like, this is where it's at. And then fast forward some odd years and some film school later, I was working for Frameline Film Festival and got my start in print traffic. And so that means I was lugging 35 millimeter films up into the projection booths and beta SP tapes. And I went into the Roxy projection booth and I fell in love. I fell in love with this place. And yeah, I've been here basically ever since.
For people that don't know, though, how did you transition from the projection booth to being the executive director of the Roxy?
Oh, that's a question. That's off script. You went off script.
I did.
Isa actually hired me, so credit to Isa, as the operations director in 2015. I've been here a decade, and I got to learn from some amazing executive directors. Liz O'Malley is in the house tonight, was the executive director right before me, taught me so much about fundraising and worked on some great projects with her. And when she, wow, this is so funny, when she left to work at SFFILM, there was the opportunity for me to step into the executive director role, and that was right before COVID happened.
So easy, such a good time to take a job like that.
And I'm so glad I was in that role. Yeah, and I'm still here.
I'm going to come back to that because there are several of us that kind of started in the same time, and one day we'll write a book about how not to start a job. But first, I want to thank you both for sharing kind of your origin stories. And there's so much history in the room, but I'd really love to talk about what you've been doing these past few years and shift a little bit to like leadership and programming that's been happening recently. I think a lot of us think that the Roxy has survived by being kind of like a spunky take risk programming sphere, which a lot of individuals in this room contributed to. And something that I believe to be very true is that this house provides rare experiences for audiences. And I think that, this is something that probably creates a lot of opportunity, but also maybe a little bit of pressure. And so I'm just curious, Isa, if you could talk about, we were talking earlier about how the Mel Novikoff felt like this idea of connecting audiences with international cinema felt like it was part of the DNA that you had inherited. If you could talk a little bit about what influences your programming and perhaps maybe where your ideas originate.
Wow.
I've thrown her off script a little bit. We're going to be okay.
Well, as you're saying, since its inception, the Roxie has been a home for bold independent cinema, making a big commitment to international film. So it is basically built in the DNA of the organization. The audience here in San Francisco and the Bay Area, I think they do deeply resonate with foreign film. There's a big hunger for it. You'll be surprised how many people really get excited about subtitles. Yeah, there is such excitement that last year we started a passport to cinema for our members, where it's a playful challenge throughout the year where you can get stamp in your passport for every country you visit through film. I think we're gonna do it again, right? Yeah.
How do your, as a
Yes,
programmer to programmer, I'm curious, what's the spark? Do you go see a film? Do you read about something? Do you have a notebook full of like ideas? Where does the inspiration come from?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, and it's not only me. We are, as like Lex, Rick, like everybody in the office, really is part of the programming team. We do follow what's happening with festivals like SFFILM and other festivals. We see what's being released, what's being restored, what's on our list, or ongoing list of films that we want to bring back, and we have a good reason to do that. And how can we blow people's minds? That's what we try to do.
Well, you do an incredible job of it. I think that you sit, I think I said this before, in the intersection of like interest, mission, and artistry. And I find that whenever I look at your programming, I'm very jealous. Just this month, for example, you have Porco Rosso, The Life and Times of Harvey Milk, This is America by Frederick Wiseman. As I mentioned, they had David Cronenberg on Monday. I'm not jealous. I'm in the middle of a festival. It's fine. 3 by Charles Burnett. Thank you very much, Andy Kaufman. You've got a 35 millimeter of River and Tides. I'm the teacher, which was part of the festival last year.
And the Encampments, which was SFFILM supported.
And the Encampment, which is, thanks Lex, SFFILM supported. Yeah. Tank Girl, The Joy of Life. I could go on and on. You can all look at their calendar. It's incredible. So Lex, I'd love to ask you, as someone that took a job that, on the face of it, you thought was perhaps going to be about fundraising and about creating stability for staff and moving the organization forward, and then became a lot about stabilizing. What is it that kind of has been your guiding North Star these last 5 years as you've been trying to help bring the organization into the next chapter, but also keep doors open?
Such a good question, Jessie. North Star, that's a big question. I would say, it's the people, it's you all that are the North Star, and it's the moments that are made here in this theater. Sometimes, probably I say it a lot, so it probably gets old, but what we do here is more than movies. I truly believe that. I think that whether it's a drag show or a filmmaker here in conversation. The stories I've heard of people's first dates that are still together 30 years later. We've had some proposals right here. It's being a space to bring people together, and definitely being closed for over 400 days during the pandemic. Once we were able to reopen, reinvigorated my belief and our belief in the mission and why we do what we do. And there's nothing like watching movies in a cinema with strangers. It's just one of the most magical feelings in the world, and we get to hold a space for that. And so I, sometimes I'm plunging a toilet or cleaning painting, doing touch-up paint with the team, and it's still the absolute best job in the world. I'm so very fortunate to work with incredible people, and some of my best friends I met here at the Roxie, and so North Star is the people.
I think that speaks really beautifully to the truth of what's in this room tonight. That's what's driven folks that came before and continues to drive your team, is that it's the people. I also think it's fascinating that in a time of perhaps scarcity that you were also led to some innovation, both of you. Isa, I'd love to ask you first about Roxie, which started recently, and I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about that. It was something that came when you were able to reopen the doors after the height of lockdown, and if you could chat a little bit about why that was meaningful to you and why you love the program.
I don't know, I think I've lost my voice a little bit. Roxie, we started that like about 10 years ago now. It started very organically. We're in the Mission District, and we wanted to serve the community in our neighborhood. So we did get a San Francisco Arts Commission grant to support it for a few years. Then we got a little big for that. And then we got an NEA grant, the National Endowment for the Arts, which has been supporting it for a few years too. Although we're not really sure if we have it this year. We don't know if they'll actually award us the funds or not, given the new administration's priorities. And we actually don't, we have applied for next year, but we don't know what's gonna happen. But no worries, because the Roxie is committed to continue this program no matter what happens with the NEA grant. And why am I telling you this?
It's great. You're telling me why you love the program, and it means that you're charging forward.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about forward-looking. You've launched your capital campaign, Forever Roxie. Did I get it right?
You did.
Okay. So not only did you have the sizable task of finding stability, but then you decided that you didn't want sleep, and you decided to buy the building, which is incredible. Lex, and you've launched the capital campaign now, and this is huge because it will provide you so much more security and also the ability to continue to serve the people and the community. Can you talk a little bit about why this time now felt right to launch the capital campaign?
Is there ever a right time to launch a capital campaign? Darn. Well, I should say that buying the Roxie, buying this building, has been a long-held dream of many stewards of this organization, and this isn't new. And when I came on the Roxie, it was a discussion that had been happening already, and so this has truly been a labor of love for years for so many people. I think I can just speak for me personally that I personally was very invested in what happened to the Castro and what's happening to the Castro, and it was a definite catalyst, I would say, to rally the board and the leadership and work with our landlords. And thank goodness we have amazing landlords who are willing to work with us to find a way to make this happen. It was the Castro is such a sacred cinema space, and so many single screen movie theaters have disappeared from the landscape of San Francisco, and that was a huge catalyst because we saw how it affected our film festivals and all of these. The whole arts ecosystem was shaken. Cinema was shaken to, I think, our core a little bit, not having the Castro as a space. And it was just very clear to us, like, in our board, we can't let that happen to the Roxie. We get to be the story of hope. We get to be proof that people love coming to the movies, and and just write a new story and a new narrative. That was the catalyst for why now is the time.
And then can we talk a little bit more in brass tacks, because there's some people in here that are very familiar with
Brass
nonprofit,
tacks.
but
Yeah.
like not other people understand. They're like, okay, they're going to raise the money and buy the building, and that's how it works. But it's so much more difficult than that. And I know that it affects both of you in different ways, because I know, Isa, you're thinking about the programming as it relates to the capital campaign, and Lex, you're thinking so much about the operations, the equipment, and the building. Can you just share a little bit about perhaps like what your biggest projects are right now as part of moving this campaign forward, so we all have an appreciation of how hard you're working?
Well, we're talking about expanded programming, and that's a big word. And we kind of look at it in two ways. One, more internally, which means more showtimes, more movies, more risk, more of everything. Keep the partnerships we have with the community organizations that we work with, and reach out to new audiences that we haven't served yet. That's a big part of it. And then that's internally. Then we also kind of like look outward a little bit and see what are the possibilities. One example is floating features. I don't know if you've ever heard about it, but for the last few years we've been showing movies on the bay, literally on a boat in the fall, which has been really fun and has inspired us. So I don't know, maybe Roxie will pop up in another neighborhood or something like that.
Roxie on the road.
Roxie on the road, yes.
I love this floating features, Roxie on the road, and Come to the Roxie. I love all of it. And then Lex, how about for you? What are kind of like immediate, near-term things that you're working on as part of the campaign?
Well, the Forever Roxie campaign has really let us dream big and be bold, and total shout out to our board of directors who, you know, they were like, this isn't just about buying a building. It's about so much more than the building. And it's really, the campaign is about investing in this building, but also in the staff that make this building sing, and exploring what the future of different programming can hold. And this, you know, being able to own our space allows us to keep ticket prices low and stay accessible. And that's such an important part of our mission. And so, yeah, doing this campaign gave us the freedom to dream in maybe ways that we haven't been able to, because we were always worried about the next lease negotiation or the next time that, you know, our rent was increased. And it's hard to be a nonprofit that doesn't own your own space. It's just really hard because displacement is kind of always over your shoulder, you know? And so now the sky's the limit of what we can dream about.
Could I ask you both about your dreams? Like, what is something perhaps that you are ideating over or very excited about? It's probably going to be a little bit different for both of you, but Isa, we were talking earlier, like, is there a filmmaker that you're really interested in right now that perhaps you have a dream about doing a program with?
Yeah, we talked about this. That filmmaker is Alonso Ruiz Palacios, Mexican filmmaker. He did Güeros about 10 years ago, and his last film, La Cocina, was just released last year, his first film in English. Luckily, we did have him here already for Museo a few years back, but yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on this guy.
I can't wait for your retrospective. He needs to make a few more films first, but it'll be great. Lex, how about you? What's a dream that you're holding on to right now?
Dream that I'm holding on to? Well, I'm a filmmaker, and so just being able to continue to support the Bay Area filmmaking community, whether that's something like Mixtape, which is our shorts film program, or doing more services for filmmakers to quality check their work. I love that what you may not know is that during the day, even though we're not showing movies during the week to the public, this place is still fired up and it's happening, and it's school groups or filmmakers who are quality checking their DCPs to make sure they're good to ship off to SFFILM. You've kept us busy recently. So yeah, it's so more of being able to open the doors.
Exactly. Alan Johnson's in the house from the Chronicle and shared with me that one of his favorite memories is being able to come here and see screeners for a festival. And I have to say that I'm so happy we're here in the middle of the festival, and I look forward to the day that we're here every day during the festival and being back. It's always a beautiful house to be in as another nonprofit or arts organization. Thank you so much for sharing with everyone about where you're sitting right now and where you're looking. There is so much history behind you that hopefully is propelling you forward. You've seen the incredible programming that you're seeing behind you. I think there's some people that you would like to thank in the audience.
Well, absolutely. Certainly, we're not the experts on the Roxie, and we all have our own Roxie stories. And so I would love to just have Peter Moore and Anita Munga stand and get a round of applause. I could listen to your stories all day. The Roxie wouldn't be this movie theater if it wasn't for you two. And speaking of, the movie theater that we certainly wouldn't be this theater. We might be a movie theater, but we wouldn't be this movie theater without Bill Banning. So Bill, where are you? Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Bill, can we get you a mic really quickly, just so everyone can hear you?
I'd just like to thank two rather important people that haven't been mentioned much tonight. The first is the longtime programmer, Elliot Levine.
Yes.
He did some really outstanding programming over a period of about 12 years that he was here. And even more importantly, or just as important, was my partner for the first 6 years I was here, Robert Evans. This theater would not be here if it weren't for Robert Evans. He was one of the original founders, and when everybody else, the Roxie's always gone through hard times, but there were particular hard times in 1982, I believe. Peter can confirm that. That a lot of people just thought it would be a lot easier to walk away, and Robert did not walk away. And so we sat up in the booth. That was our office up in the booth. You should all go up sometime and look at it. There were about 5 or 6 of us there every day, and Robert kept the whole thing going. And if anybody's responsible for this theater as it is here now, I think it's Robert Evans, and I think Peter would agree, and Anita, and a lot of other people who were here at the beginning. So please remember Robert. He died in 1990 in June, and we all miss him very much.
Thank you so much, Bill, for saying that. That's really important. There's maybe some other people who aren't in this room tonight, but just to shout out Christopher Staton and Megan Wilson, who, Chris, are you here? I don't know. But they key when we became a fledgling nonprofit. So I often say the Roxie has lived many lifetimes, and it's so amazing to be in this presence of so many amazing people today. And lastly, just got to shout out our former and current staff members and our former and current board members. If you have ever worked at the Roxie for a paycheck or not, can you please stand up and let us celebrate you? Let's see it. Yes. Oh, there's more of you out there. I know there's more of you out there.
Anita and Peter, you should be standing.
Yeah. Jane, Peter, yeah. Beautiful. Jono. I was very nervous to come out here, and then a wise person said, "You're just in a room full of friends."
And
I really feel this way. So thank you all for coming.
I have tried to keep this light because I know that neither one of you wanted to be up here for more than 20 minutes, and I've kept you for more than 20 minutes. They're really excited to be on the stage. I know you're tired. I made you take photos. I made you talk. I've done all the things you hate, but yeah, I know you're ready for that. I do want to thank you. You're a beacon in the light for all of us. You continue to shine a light that was started by many individuals here in the room, but you are a space for us to gather and feel safe and feel welcome. So thank you both for all of that. Thank you for leading with kindness. You've met me with so much kindness and generosity, and that extends on. As the wise person said to you, you are in a room full of friends. So before I talk about the film that we're screening tonight, which is full of connective tissue between both the Roxie and SFFILM, a relationship that I hope continues for many, many decades into the future, grants bearing, please put your hands together for Lex and for Isabel, for Rick and for Diane, and for everybody who has made the Roxie possible. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I love this. Great. So now as we transition into the film, Lex in full executive director mode is going to be adjusting the masking and breaking down the stage. This is beautiful to me. Isabel is running away as quickly as possible because this was her worst nightmare, making her talk in front of everyone. Thank you all so much for being here tonight for what was a beautiful conversation and a celebration of people that we love so much. Please continue to show your support. Tell people about Forever Roxie. Be a member. Come to see films here. Support your local independent theater houses and your film festivals because it means the world. And without incredibly fearless individuals like Lex, who's adjusting the masking behind me, and Rick and Isabel and Diane and Peter and Bill and Anita and so many people who I'm leaving out, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you again. When we were trying to figure out what film to show in honor of the Roxie and in celebration of them having the Mel Novikoff Award, we went through a couple of ideas, but it was really easy to settle on a film by Akira Kurosawa. I got to learn a lot about more of the connective tissue between Akira Kurosawa, SFFILM, and the Roxie tonight. I thought I had it right, but thank goodness for Pamela Gentile, who filled me in. So Kurosawa came in 1986 to get the first Director's Award from SFFILM, and while he was in town, he rode in a limo with Peter Scarlett. Peter Scarlett knew he was going to be in town because he was nominated for an Academy Award. And while he was in town, he came here to the Roxie, and he was in, the lore is that he was in the limo with George Lucas, and that they came to the Roxie. He did a tour of the Roxie, which many staff members have remembered and shared with us. And then, just a few days later, after getting the award from SFFILM, he was handed the award by George Lucas himself at the Academy Awards, and Kurosawa continued to flourish from there. For those of you who may be novices and don't know Akira Kurosawa, which is possible if you are in the audience, this is a great way to see him. Akira Kurosawa is considered by many to be one of the greats of cinema. We have shown his films. The Roxie has shown his films. You may know Seven Samurai. I sure hope you all know Seven Samurai, but if you don't, check it out. Bad Sleep Well, Throne of Blood, Yojimbo, I'm forgetting one that I really love, Akiru, and there's so many more. If you are not familiar with his work, or if you are a fan of his work, Kurosawa was known for many things. He loved movement, both in terms of camera and people. He loved the weather. He loved the idea of a hero, or of exploring the idea of a moral life. He really, really was fascinated and heavily influenced by Shakespeare and the Bard, and extracted that into his work. He was very interested in corruption and in how we could fight against that. That could not be more fitting to have that kind of thematic in this moment right now. He was also very interested in medicine and in doctors, and this idea of self-sacrifice for the betterment of the community. Again, could not be more fitting for the Roxie. Just about a life well lived. So when we were trying to figure out who to program, Kurosawa seemed like a great idea to all of us. I hope you will all agree. We're really delighted because it is having its 75th anniversary after winning the Venice Golden Lion. So to be able to celebrate somebody that means a lot to both my organization, SFFILM, and the Roxie, as well as somebody who is a true master of cinema, is really incredible. We're about to see Rashomon, which pairs a lot of the things that I just talked about. Please pay attention to framing. If you haven't before, please pay attention to the way that he puts together his blocking. He gives all of his characters instructions to make a movement and to repeat that throughout his film so that you know who they are and what kind of emotion they're feeling. Pay attention to the weather. You're going to see a lot of it in this film. And there's so much more that I could say, but really I just hope you all enjoy the film. I'm so delighted that this is what we all get to sit in the dark and see together as we celebrate our friendship with the Roxie. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for the committee for the Mel Novikoff Award. Thank you to Lex and to everyone at the Roxie. And thank you all for being part of the audience. And now let's please enjoy Rashomon.